Hey everyone, me Kevin here. In this video, we are going to go through Biden's proposed $3 to $4 trillion stimulus package. Now, the package has not technically been announced yet or released yet, so we are going to do a preview of it based on information that has been leaked. And y'all know the White House and Congress, no matter who's in office, the White House and Congress leak like a sieve. So let's get into what some of the details might look like. A quick reminder, tomorrow, which is March 26th, the coupon code for the amazing programs on Building Your Wealth, link down below, does expire. So take a look at that. The pricing will be going up tomorrow evening. That's Friday evening. All right, so here we go. Let's zoom into this. Just a quick note, some of the sources, not all of the sources I hit, were Washington Post, New York Times, and the Wall Street Journal. I always try to get a little bit from the left and right. So just full disclaimer, that's where I got some of the leaks from. And they've got lots of reporters, whether you like them or not. They've got a lot of reporters who are able to collect these leaks, which is awesome. Okay, so the size. We are expecting the size to be $3 to $4 trillion, with at least $2 trillion for climate initiatives. The reason I specifically highlight that is because Republicans are like, oh, well, we want infrastructure, but we don't want like a Green New Deal. We don't want climate initiatives. Yeah, well, if at least $2 trillion is for climate, that means potentially half to more than half of the deal is dedicated to climate initiatives. So it's going to be interesting getting those extra 10 Republican votes. The rest is for infrastructure and what they call social infrastructure. So let's talk about that. Social infrastructure, huge part of this bill, actually. That is going to potentially look like having the child tax credit, that $250 to $300 per month, extended for several years, because right now it's only good for the tax year of 2021. We might start seeing those payments flow monthly starting in July of 2020. Expanded childcare spending, school infrastructure with hundreds of billions of dollars going to schools and education, including universal pre-kindergarten, free community college, more Affordable Care Act subsidies, and lots of money specifically dedicated to underserved communities. Specifically, free or reduced tuition at historically black colleges and universities, money going specifically to underserved black and brown communities, and to communities that suffer from pollution. So this is almost as much as a social infrastructure, or human infrastructure bill, it's being nicknamed, as it is a racial justice, or I should say, as the bill also includes racial justice provisions in it. There will also be a lot of money for training people to get millions of new jobs in infrastructure and climate-related fields, which probably is going to be good, I like to think, for companies like Tesla, who are constantly looking for engineers and talent to help innovate a transition to a more green future. On climate, which was quoted in one piece as being roughly $2 trillion, in another was quoted as being less than $2 trillion. So that's why I put roughly here, because it might be a little bit less, it might be up to $2 trillion. Not entirely clear on the pricing here. But the big goal is reducing carbon emissions without taxing carbon emissions. So unlikely to see any kind of like carbon tax punishments for corporations that emit too many carbons. Instead, just basically initiatives that actually reduce emissions, like forcing a transition to maybe a percentage of green energy or whatever. We don't know exactly the deals or details of that yet. We do know that part of the plan is having 1 million affordable housing units, energy efficient new housing, so probably new codes for homes. Remember, California, for example, requires solar panels on homes now for new construction that is built. And a huge, I cannot understate this, massive focus on building EV charging stations throughout the country. They want to pour upwards of $100 billion into EV charging infrastructure. That's cray. That is huge. I'll probably follow up, by the way, with another video where I break down my favorite stocks, for investing in some of the priorities based on this bill. So stay tuned on the channel. It'll probably be titled something like Meet Kevin, Best Stocks for Biden's Infrastructure Plan. So stay tuned for that. Probably Friday or Saturday we'll post something like that. Then we've got the actual infrastructure portion of the infrastructure bill. Huge focus on the electric grid. They don't want any more of these Texas issues that happened. That means more power lines that are capable of delivering more renewable energies. That probably means building more power lines to solar grids or water hydro grids or windmill grids and so on. Capping oil and gas wells, reclaiming abandoned mines, spending lots of money on roads, bridges, waterways, rails, and of course, charging stations. This is huge right here, folks. Cash for clunkers might be coming back. Who remembers that? And folks, this is really good news for any of you who have potentially older cars, because you might be getting big fat incentives to sell your car and get some cash for clunkers money, which we had probably last around, 13, 14 years ago. Basically, you got money to go buy a new energy-efficient vehicle. And at the same time, Biden's going to try to increase fuel efficiency standards, so it kind of forces you into a more energy-favored vehicle. I personally think this is going to be a boon for any manufacturer producing hybrid vehicles. And obviously electric vehicles. So, I mean, think about it. The writing's on the wall. Let's do more electric chargers. Let's do cash for clunkers. Let's get a stronger electric energy charging system. Folks, people think that, like, Tesla's already gone to the moon and the whole invest in electric vehicle stocks is over. Folks, it's just beginning. This is the beginning of a 35-year transition. This is not a 5-year transition. This is a 35-year transition. Many of you watching this video might not even be 35 years old. I'm not even 35 years old. All right, let's keep going here. $400 billion for climate as part of the infrastructure package. Of that, $60 billion going to green transit. So I wonder if this is going to be indicative of maybe money going to biofuels, maybe money going to buses, tunnels, not sure. $46 billion going to climate-related research. That's a lot of money going to research. Then we've got hundreds of billions of dollars towards high-growth industries like advanced battery manufacturing. Folks, let's get them solid-state batteries. Let's go. The goal of Biden's plan, America first, American dominance, build back better. Making EV stations available across the country, $200 billion for housing infrastructure, $100 billion for low-income housing, retrofit housing for energy efficiency, so we get some costs over here. This right here, these sections might sort of double up with actually the portion that we've seen under the climate section right here. So don't want to sound too redundant, but this section here has the dollar figures. Money also going to 5G infrastructure. Good for, obviously, companies like Apple, Qualcomm. Broadband for rural areas. This is something that the Biden administration and Democrats have been pushing for quite a while. Then we get to taxation. Oh, yeah, taxation. Probably going to that 28% corporate tax rate. Probably not seeing a wealth tax like Elizabeth Warren wants, but some kind of potential taxes on wealthier investors, which might end up coming in the form of an increase in the personal tax income rate on the federal level from 37% to 39.6%, which right now you do not even have to worry about that tax bracket unless you make $500,000 as an individual or $600,000 as a couple. That might get dropped to $400,000 though. This is, of course, reiterating Biden's promise not to tax anybody more who makes less than $400,000. Now, previously there were ideas like having a tax on like a financial transactions tax, which would have taxed people making under $400,000 more. There was also talk about maybe getting rid of the stepped up tax basis or having other taxes on capital gains, maybe different rates on capital gains. None of that has come up. So I'll just mention nothing, and those are big things, right? Nothing yet on capital gains and nothing on the stepped up tax basis. But yeah, so far it looks like corporate tax rate and the increase in the personal income tax rate. Again, reiterating no taxes for those, we're increasing taxes on those making under $400K. But then also extending some 2017 tax breaks as a way to convince businesses to support Biden's plan. Now, here are just some quotes. Schumer calls this really a focus on climate, economic inequality, and democracy. Nancy Pelosi says that they're going to reach out to Republicans to see what they can do, that this is about broadband, mass transit, clean water, good-paying jobs. John Barroso, a Republican, says yes to a highway bill, very good start, however, no to any form of a Green New Deal. In my opinion, there's virtually no way Republicans are going to be on board with this. Too many tax increases, too much money going to green energy initiatives, climate change. We'll see. Mitch McConnell says, quote, this is a, quote, excuse me, so-called infrastructure proposal that may actually be a Trojan horse for massive tax hikes and other job-killing left-wing priorities. Republicans do not want tax hikes. Biden says they can choose to be a part of it or not, in terms of referring to Republicans. Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, says that this plan rewards work, not wealth, and the whole focus of the package is really focusing on reducing harmful emissions, in addition to obviously some of the other things, social justice, racial justice, and so on. So, passage. Probably budget reconciliation. It is an option. However, Biden is trying to get the 60 votes. However, we heard that before with the stimulus package. My guess is this is going to be revealed between Monday and Wednesday of next week. That way it gets revealed in March, which is a month after it was promised to be revealed. The hope was that this would have been revealed in February. We're hopefully going to hear about it this month. There was even suspicion we might hear about it this week, but right now it's looking like next week. We're probably looking at April to May for negotiation and passage of this bill. And my guess is that final passage, signatures, and that probably late May, early June probably. The ideal, by the way, for Biden is that this will create 5 million new jobs. Well, folks, there you have it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure to subscribe. Check out that coupon code down below. Expired tomorrow. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay, sorry. I had to do it. Lifetime access to the content, private live streams with me where you can ask me your questions, chat groups. We got everything. Folks, I can't wait to see you there. And this is exciting. We'll stay tuned to see what happens here. Is this massive amount of spending going to happen? Is it going to cause inflation? Is it going to cause the market to freak out? Or is it a blessing? I don't know. I want to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and until next time.